So this is the travel case with the sound system in the gym. For those of you that have been watching all the videos, this is going to be fairly simple. For those of you on like the volleyball team or whatever that just want to learn how to learn the system, this is a great place to start. Nice basic system. It is this travel case itself. It does have latches on basically every side. It is an old analog board. So you flip all the latches, pull the sides off. And I will say, for those of you from JCT watching this, you can actually make some good money running basketball games and doing events down here like that. Man, if I could get this thing open, there we go. The back panel is also a table, which is probably the best thing to imagine, because with running events, same as you need a cues person and a board engineer, you also need that most times down here. So you have this nice table, flips out. Pretty good. Attach it to the side. Okay. And then finally there's the lid, which also has latches on the side that I thought I had taken off. So the board itself, that goes the table. It's fine. It's a travel case. It's designed to get beat up. But this is an old analog board. It's not designed to get beat up, but it has clearly been hit by a basketball several times, as there are faders bent and missing. But I'm not here to complain. I'm just here to run the stuff. So a lot of people, run analog boards in their church. Basically the same thing as that. People get overwhelmed when they see analogs. It's like, there's so much stuff. But the great thing about running sound here in the gym is you don't need a lot of it. First, this board is the same thing like 10 times. So you just need to learn what one channel is, and you don't need these blue things. You will not, these blues and these blue knobs over here are aux sends. You're not going to need those. So let's just start at the top. We have XLR ends up here for various microphones. We also can have 1/4-inch ends for guitars and things like that right here. This is an insert. You won't need that. Then we have the gain. For those of you that this is the first video watching, the gain is basically the sensitivity of the mic. It's how you make the mic pick up more or pick up less. This has a non-variable high pass. It's just got this one button. That's an 80 hertz high pass. Just leave it in. Leave this button pressed down. It'll make it sound better. It'll take the rumble out of the voice. You'll see what I mean if you forget it. This is the compressor. Generally, because everything in here is so high volume and energy, like pep rallies and people screaming, just leave this turned up pretty high. It makes people quieter. Sort of, that's the layman explanation of it. So, and the higher you crank it, the less it's going to stop them from yelling. So just, if they're yelling a lot, crank this baby higher and higher and higher. These 4 green knobs right here are the EQ. If you're a power user, if you're okay with saying, man, there's a lot of low in this room, it's rumbling a lot, you can pull down the lows. If you're like, man, this sounds really, I hate to use the word, but tinny is the word people use, like thin, you can pull up the lows some. Same with the highs. You want more highs, less highs. The mid, this top knob is a sweep. It sets where the mid is. I wouldn't really worry about that unless you know what you're doing. It just sets where you want to boost. But if you just want sound to come out to play your to play your phone, don't worry about this. Don't worry about these green knobs. This red knob is the pan. That doesn't matter. That's not going to matter to us, and you'll see why in just a second. So here is the most common mistake with this board. These buttons are on buttons. For it to work, this button has to be pressed down and orange. If it's not, I believe it's orange. It has to be in the press down form. If it's not, no sound will come out. It's the opposite of a mute button. I've been called down here a couple times, and the issue is this button just wasn't pressed. It wasn't pressed down. This is the PFL button. Don't worry about that. And just make sure all of these are pressed down, and you will be fine. And then this is the fader. This sets the volume. The higher you have it, the louder it gets. And that's the channel itself. Keep in mind, this is the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Now, that's the channel. Let's look at how to actually set this thing up. So, if we come around the back, we have this little cable snake dangling here. This is mains left. I've made this mistake myself. This has to be plugged in. This is the output. The output has to be plugged in right there. These two right here, this green tape and this yellow tape, are microphones. There are two wireless mics on the front of this. I'll show you in just a second. These have to be in. And then this right here is the CD player. I will say the CD player is a very high gain output thing, meaning it's very loud and prone to distortion. So if there's a way you can not use a CD, such as having it on your phone or bringing in a laptop, that's much preferred, because this CD player is very jamming. So here's the front of the unit. Here's the CD player. It works just like any other CD player you've ever used. Power button's over there. These are the wireless mics. It's got on switches down here. The mics are in here. The mics are labeled mic 1 and mic 2. Come in mic 1 and mic 2. And then they come in wherever you plugged them in. So if you plugged in mic 1 here, it's right here on this channel, straight down. Plugged in mic 2 here, it's right here on this channel, straight down. There's also an RCA cable in here for plugging in your phone. It's got 1/8 inch to RCA. So if you want your phone to play, you just plug it in right here. And now you can plug your phone in, and your phone comes in right below it, right there. Now, there's the issue of powering this. It has one power cable. The drop for this is over on the far side of the gym. We're in the closet by the stairs. It's over by the wrestling room. There's a little drop in the floor, and it's got a power outlet and an XLR in. It's a little PowerCon connector. Plug it in right here where it says AC power on the front. They're both blue. It's hard to miss. And then you plug it into the drop to power it up. This does have a boot sequence you have to do. This little thing right here that says turn this rack on first has to come on first. Once you get that on, you can flip the board on, which has its power switch right on the back. And you can flip all this on. And then this also has to go off last. So turn the board off, turn the CD off, turn these off, and then flip that. And that's how you turn it back off. In that drop is an XLR. That XLR is already plugged into the drop. It just plugs in right to the front of this panel right here to mixer out. And now you're basically ready to jam. You're ready to do anything this needs. In case you need to know, the amps are up in a room labeled Sound Closet up there. It stays locked. There's really no need to go in there. The frequencies on here are set for those of you from JCT. If you need to change them, you can. Just make sure you change the mics. And if you ever need to steal a wireless handheld, this is a great place to get it from. Because they really only ever use one, and if they need two, it'll probably be after school. So if you have a dire need for another one for an emergency production reason, it's a great place to get it from. And that's really this cart. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I like
One more thing.
One more thing. Over here is the main and group outs. Leave these at 0 or unity. I know that may seem like a very trivial thing. It's so trivial, I forgot it. But it's what cost 4 teams winning Alabama State Thespian Festival Tech Challenge. We were the only team that pulled up these groups on the board they had at Tech Challenge, and we were the only ones that got sound to play because of it. These have to be pulled up for them to work. And for those of you that are crazy and want to hook mics up, it does have phantom power right there. And that's it. Thank you.
Quick question.
Yep.
So this says groups 1 to 2 and groups 3 and 4. How do we know where those groups are?
They're stereo groups. They're put in right here. You just flip these buttons, push them down, put them in the groups.
Cool.
Just leave them at unity and you won't have a problem.
Okay.
And keep in mind, everything out of here is mono.
Okay.
Not that you would want it to be anything other than mono, but if you have some weird sound design or soundscape you're trying to create, this is not the place to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.